It's Monster Madness when Personal FX visits the very first collector of monster trucks. And comics are one of America's favorite collectibles. We'll see how they're made next on Personal FX, the Collectible Show.
Welcome everybody to Personal FX, the place to see some wonderful collectibles.
Claire, you like dessert. How much would you pay for a slice of cake?
I love dessert, John. If it was like a great cake with wonderful white chocolate frosting, $25 bucks. I'd go as high as that.
Not bad, not bad. Well, yesterday we told you about the auction that was happening at Sotheby's with the estate of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. One of the things that they auctioned off was a slice of their wedding cake. All right, now this thing's petrified. There it is. It comes in a little 3-inch box, and they expected that thing to sell for $1,000. Ladies and gentlemen, a piece of wedding cake sold for $26,000.
We're talking memories, John, and a great romance.
It's cake. It's cake. The guy that bought it actually beat out Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. And the interesting thing is that his wife was next to him, and when he won the big bid for $26,000, she said, well, he's the romantic one in the family.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
That's sweet, yeah.
We have no cake to be appraised today, but we have two wonderful appraisers to appraise some great items. Deirdre Featherstone and Ken here with us, and we're going to put you to work, guys.
Speaking of getting to work, should we do that?
Shall we?
All right. It's cake. All right, let's go back out to St. Louis, Missouri, where John Davis got to see an incredible super collection of monster trucks. And when I say monster trucks, I mean monster trucks. Take a look.
John, not only is this our first monster truck super collector, we're with the man who created the entire monster truck phenomenon. It all began 23 years ago with this baby right here. This is Bigfoot #1, and it's the brainchild of this man, Bob Chandler. How are you, Bob?
Hi, John.
Now, when you started this, you had no idea what you were creating, right?
No, I really did it as a promotional tool. You know, I put bigger and bigger tires on. The bigger they got, the more the people seem to like it.
And you were promoting your four-wheel drive shop.
Exactly.
And it just caught on, and the collectibles that have evolved from Bob's idea 23 years ago are unbelievable. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Bob's private collection of monster truck memorabilia.
Wow, that is amazing. You know, you can drive down the road in that thing, but every so often you got to scrape out the Chevettes from underneath.
But John, I do wonder what it's like to drive in something like that, don't you?
That has to be a lot of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, that has to be a lot of fun.
Okay, well, we have a good item to be appraised. Rob has brought in. Hi, Rob.
Hi,
nice to
how you
have you
doing?
with us.
Thank you.
I looked at this first and I thought picture frame, and then it looked a little thick for a picture frame. What is it that you brought?
It's a jewelry box that my wife had found in a box. Grandmother used it for years. I really don't know much about it.
Very lovely.
Isn't that
Deirdre, have you
interesting?
seen something like this before?
Yes, actually, these are quite common. These were done in the 40s and 50s, actually. And that's exactly what they are. They would take some picture framing, and you get a nice print, mount them under glass, and make a little jewelry box out of it, or trinket box. This one's kind of interesting because the bottom of it is lined with gold paper, and then it's got glass in between, which leads you to believe that it contains something like cosmetics, perfume. It would protect the bottom from spilling.
At the time that they were made, were they inexpensive?
They were not very expensive, no. They were not very expensive, but they were very pretty, very decorative, a nice dresser item. They would accompany some nice crystal perfume bottles with a brass overlay and that kind of thing. But I think that's a little more interesting that has the glass in the bottom than if it was just a regular run-of-the-mill jewelry box.
Well, obviously very special because it was your grandmother's.
Yeah. It's really
What would
nice.
something like this run today?
They're not that expensive. You can find them still at auctions for $35 to $65.
And you can find them easily?
Yeah, they're fairly
Okay,
easy
I
to
haven't
find.
seen it.
Yeah, they're really very
Now
nice.
that you know a little bit more about it and the price range, you can put it up for sale or keep it, whatever you would like to do.
We could take some bids.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today. And our bid line number is 212-802-0082 for any items that are up for sale. You can also email us at www.fxcable.com. Collectible.com. And John, that is just such a lovely looking jewelry box, trinket box.
Yeah, we got another great item right here. Cynthia has joined us to have something appraised. Hi, Cynthia. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
What do you got? Tell us what it is.
I have a Mickey Mouse hi-fi radio. My mother bought it at a garage sale about 5 years ago. It still works. It's AM. It has the original box. I don't know too much more about it than that.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. One quick note, if you have a stereo unit, console one at home that looks like this, don't call anybody in the antique business to buy it because they're not coming.
What do you mean?
Those big stereo
Oh, you mean
consoles
the
from
real
the
one?
60s,
Yeah.
the real one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
The
go
ones you
out for
gotta
those.
move, yeah.
Yeah, but this one here, we've got a little AM radio stuck in here. This is probably from the late 60s or the early 70s. It's made in Hong Kong. And Mickey's just all laid out, relaxed, having a great old time. You know, he's really having fun.
Is this AM? Is that
AM
right?
only.
Okay.
Yep, and it's still working.
Morning newspaper in 10 minutes.
There it is.
Wow, working really nice.
Working really nice. No,
Clear as a bell.
Yeah. Yep, without an antenna, pulling everything in this big office building here.
Yeah,
which is
very
nice.
nice.
Yep.
Got the
Yep.
box. That's a good
Got
thing.
the great box, great graphics on the box. It's colored all over the place. There's a lot of Mickey Mouse radios, phonographs, things like that on the market, especially in this time period. So the value of them doesn't get real high.
Really?
Right. As opposed to earlier items that, 20 and 30 years older than that. But still, it's very collectible, and the condition really is good. It has not been abused at all.
And for people that collect Disneyana,
Right.
man,
right.
they'll
Right. When you want something in good condition with an original box, this is what they're talking about. This
Yeah.
gets the highest price in this condition.
So
like
what do we
this.
got here?
I would say about $60.
All right.
Yeah.
$60. What do you think? Do you want to take some bids?
Sure, we'll take bids.
We'll do that for you. Thank you very
Thanks.
much for bringing that by. Appreciate
Thank you.
that. So I'll let you take that and head that way. And we're going to call in John to see what John's got. John, come on in.
Hi.
How's life?
Okay, how you
Hey,
doing?
Good, good. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in today.
Nice to see you.
What you
Nice
got
to
here?
see you, sir.
Yep.
I have World's Fair cards from 64 and 65.
Oh, where'd you get these?
World's Fair when I was 6 years old.
Oh, you went, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Grandma and Grandpa took me when I was young.
Oh, great memories.
Right.
Yeah.
This particular book here of the postcard type illustrations, these are fairly common. Don't carry a lot of value. Everybody seemed to pick these up in various forms. These, like what John's got in his hand now, are much harder to find. You don't see a lot of these, even in this area where these things are quite prevalent. And these are not postcards, they're actually information cards. And they're pictures of all the different pavilions that are on these. They're in wonderful condition. And it's got the Astronaut Plaza, the Ford, like what John has in his hand. All the different pavilions are in here. Traveler's Insurance. There's about 25 of these cards. And the smaller cards here, which I did not get a chance to count, but there's got to be another 60 or 70 in these. These are also in excellent condition. And the same thing, but without the information on the back.
It's really amazing because the site still exists. You can go back
Well,
and look at what the site looks
New
like.
York, the New York Pavilion is still there,
Yeah.
and the Unisphere is still there, and you get a good feel for what it was like. And I went there several times as a kid. I was a little bit older than you, and it was mind-boggling. And it really was impressive, everything that was there. And
Well, what do you think about what we have here?
well, I think that we have to value these higher than the normal postcards that you see all the time that don't have a lot of value, especially because of their condition, and I would put them at $1 to $3 a piece. We're looking at about 25 of the larger ones, so that's, $40 to $75, and another $25 or $30 for the smaller ones, a few more dollars for incidentals. We're looking at least $100 in that price range for a World's Fair collector.
Great. What do you think? You want to take some bids?
Excuse me? Yes.
Would you like to take some bids? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, we'll do that. We'll see what happens. Thank you for
Okay,
bringing
thank
us
you
by.
very
Appreciate
much.
that.
Thank you.
All righty, Claire, we are sending this your way for the next appraisal.
Okay, and Judy has brought in something very interesting. Hi, Judy.
Hi.
I know it plugs in because I see something to plug in. Tell us what you brought.
It is a lady's headset. It was for the old-time battery sets. I don't know too much about it, except that even back then they liked to keep their hairdos nice. So this was something that didn't have to go over their head. It was just held up to their ear.
And nice looking as
Yeah,
well.
isn't that nice? Yes.
Talk about what it was used for.
Well, there's several things that I'd like to point out on this piece. First of all, the style of it, which brings you right into the turn of the century, which is, this one actually dates from 1914. It is silver plate on brass, and you can notice the architectural motifs. You'll see these on a lot of buildings built at the turn of the century. This is the manufacturer, Little and Company or something like that. The most unusual thing about this is that until the 1920s, radios didn't become household items. It wasn't until much later than this was actually made that. So this was sort of an amateur interest in crystal sets, which sort of leads you to believe that there must have been quite a number of ladies who were interested in the technology of this kind of medium at the time.
Is this what the headset looked like for the ladies, or this was an
it's
unusual
more
one?
decorative. No, it is a more decorative one. I mean, you know, actually her husband is quite an expert on radios, and he has seen literature that advertised these as the ladies' headsets. So these were for the crystal sets, and kind of unusual that you would think that something like this would be invented at such an early time when the radio wasn't quite as common as all that.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
What is something like this worth today?
Well, this is silver plate on brass, as I say, and it's probably an early plastic or bone, and this one would be worth $250 to $350.
Really? So all
Yeah.
you need is the radio to plug it into?
This actually can work with today's equipment.
It can.
Any of these guys here can use this piece.
Isn't that
Yep.
something? You and your husband thinking of putting this up for sale?
Yes, we are. We'll take some
Okay,
bids.
we'll do that. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the Collector's Update.
You know, it's February, Valentine's Day is over, there's nothing to do this weekend. Or is there? We have a couple of ideas for you, especially if you're going to be around Asheville, North Carolina. They're going to host the 11th Annual Arts and Crafts Conference, so that should be a lot of fun. There's going to be thousands of people that are going to gather for a lot of things, including lectures on stickly furniture, American art pottery, and a whole lot more. So once again, that's in Asheville, North Carolina. It's the 11th Annual Arts and Crafts Conference. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, okay, but I live on the West Coast. Okay, got something for you folks on the West Coast as well. The 14th Annual American Indian and Tribal Art Show is set for this weekend in Marin, California. Now, hundreds of dealers are going to be on hand with more than 10,000 items to choose from. There will be something for everyone. As a matter of fact, here's a little preview for you. Take a look at this. Intricate Native American textiles, including this 1930s Navajo rug. Man, that thing is great. Also, stunning Southwestern silver and turquoise jewelry will be there, and African tribal art. And once again, that is this weekend at the Marin Civic Center in California. Might be a lot of fun. So there you go, something to do this weekend. Stay with us, folks. When Personal FX returns, we have a lot of appraisals coming your way, including those items right there and some items out in St. Louis, Missouri. Stay with us.
Someone or something is stealing bodies.
You think this grave was unearthed by aliens?
Agent Scully is getting closer to the truth.
You're having trouble with this case.
Maybe too close.
We found Agent Scully's car.
We're gonna find her.
Don't miss The X-Files. Tonight at 8, 7 Central on FX.
It's shaped like my hand.
We asked Karen Leahy to compare the SOS scrubber sponge to her scrubber sponge.
Probably the biggest thing is the shape. This point here where your finger is cleaning those nooks and crannies.
The SOS scrubber sponge.
You believe it when you hold it.
Mom said it's ladylike to leave something on your plate, so I do. The fork.
Three Musketeers. With rich milk chocolate and fluffy nougat, it's big on chocolate, not on fat.
My cousin Seymour used to dress like that. Don't ask.
Well, in my family, we're always cooking. I remember as a little girl watching my mother in the kitchen. Grandma's recipes, nothing was ever measured. The dash of this, a cup of that, she used this too. Crisco oil. We don't want a heavy, greasy flavor. Crisco has a wonderful lightness to it.
Purified to taste light.
Crisco's been a tradition in our house. Good food and lots of love. That's what it's all about.
This great American cook definitely agrees. Great meals start here.
Am I a fabulous cook or what?
Crisco.
Introducing Turning Leaf Sonoma Reserve Chardonnay. There's a turning leaf on the label and changing ideas about wine in the bottle.
What do you want?
Yay!
Not just any cake. Cake so moist you want to dive right in.
You want Duncan Hines Moist Deluxe Cake with mouth-watering moistness you can see and taste and even hear. That goes for every Duncan Hines Moist Deluxe Cake, even our perfectly moist new white cake. So Duncan Hines Moist, you can do this. When it comes to moistness, Duncan Hines is just what you want. So what else do you want?
It's time to recap the late bids from yesterday's show. Adria had her Russell Wright set appraised for $200. Well, Eric from Seattle, Washington bid $175, and Adria said no sale. And then out in St. Louis, Robin's tablecloth was appraised for $600. Mary from Shoreview, Minnesota bid just that, $600, and Robin is thinking about it. And finally, in our mailbag segment, we had Darvin's beer tray that was appraised for $70. Scott from Spokane, Washington served up a bid of $101, and Darvin said, sold. And right now, I'm going to find out a little bit more about the weather because Kevin brought in some weather-related item. Hi, Kevin.
Yes,
Good to
I
have
did.
you with us. Tell us about it.
Well, this is from Germany. My grandparents brought it over, and ever since I was a little kid, I can remember, being around their house.
How does this work?
How it works, I don't know. All I know is it tells you if it's going to be nice out, she'll come out, and if it's going to be rainy, he'll come out.
I'm rooting for her to come out, but tell us more about it, Kevin.
My sinuses tell me that they're even because we got a lot of weather changes. It's all in the middle right now today. 1930s or 40s.
Yes.
It's plywood, hand-painted. Plenty of German information on the back. We know it's from Germany. A lot of them are from Germany.
And what is it called?
It's a barometer.
Oh, it is a
because it is telling you the barometric pressure, just like a wall barometer would do. And it's just a tiny little mechanism right behind here that you can see, and I have no idea how barometers work.
I was wondering how it works.
Yeah, you can see it from the side. These are kind of gift shop items. They're plentiful on the market. This one has a very cute, cottagey kind of look to it, and most of them are actually look a little cheaper than this. This one actually has some nice detail because it's hand decorated. It's very thin plywood, and I guess this is plaster, decorating the little flowers and garden scenes.
Now, I'm
and
curious,
things.
have you found it to be pretty accurate over the years?
Yeah. I don't listen to the weather station no more. I just check that thing.
I don't know if the weather station would appreciate this,
Right.
but how much is something like this worth if you can find it today?
I think $30 to $35 because it's so cute. Most of them are a lot less than that, though.
I like the cute factor,
a
30
cute
to
skirt.
35. What do you think? Putting it up for sale?
I'll entertain bids.
Okay, thank you. So nice to have you with us today. He's entertaining bids. Give us a call at 212-802-0082 or online www.fxcable.com. Our next appraisal is in St. Louis, Missouri. Bob has it. Let's check out what he's brought.
This is an oak pendulum Bayo and Doddard clock made around 1895. I acquired it in Orlando, Florida. Bought it from a retired Air Force colonel for $1,500. It's a quarter-hour strike. Like again, about 1895 is the circa on it, and it's highly carved, elaborate filigree, and I may consider offers on this clock.
Okay, what do you think?
This is gorgeous. It's so very Victorian. Now, it's hard to see that it's oak right now, but I'll point out to you a little bit later that it is oak. There's a north wind at the top that just went by. That indicates to me, and this edge at the bottom, that this is most likely English. American piece would probably be in walnut. It's a little bit older, I believe, than 1895. I would put it at 1865 to 1875.
And you say that because?
Style. That by 1895, these heads had pretty much disappeared from a lot of Victorian carving. Behind this panel on the back, that's a piece of cloth. It's also on the sides. That lets the sound out. Now you can see, look all the way through to the front, on the side, and there's quarter sawn oak. You can see it through there, and also on the door panel now, you can see that this is oak.
Is this a valuable piece?
Very valuable piece. He got a bargain at $1,500. I would say about $2,500.
About $2,500.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Really nice.
And John, I know it's time for another appraisal.
It certainly is. John is joining us. John, how you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
Nice to see you. Now, you brought something which I think wasn't available in the United States?
No, this is a Sonora Sorinet radio made together with an American and a French company together in Europe for the European market only.
And it's 30s, 40s, we think?
Late 40s, 45 to 48.
Okay. And this is Bakelite?
It's Bakelite.
Okay. What do you think?
Now, one of the things is when you look at this piece, you look straight on it, what does it remind you of?
Actually, it reminds me of the front of a car.
Exactly.
Volkswagen or something.
Exactly. Now that is one of the biggest styles because all of the cars from that period would have this sort of same grille work, this post-war kind of grille work. A lot of jewelry had it, and that will be your indication on how to date this.
I get you.
You know that the table models were in the 40s. Because of the history of the evolution of the radio, you had the floor models first, and then you had smaller models, and then you had the table models. This doesn't go into transistors, so that puts it right at the bracket where he's talking about the plastic, which is the material. It dates it also to the 40s. And you can look at this, and you look at that plug here, and you know it's European.
And that can be, if anybody wants, this still works, by the way.
Yes, it does.
It still works?
You need an adapter. A regular shaving adapter would work.
We'll work on this, yeah. John actually is extremely knowledgeable on radios. He knows a whole lot more about them than I do.
But you're doing fine.
I'm making it through. But this is very, very stylish. It would be more desirable in Europe than here. It would not be really quite collectible here because they're looking for really high-style American punchy radios. I'd put this in the 125 to 250 here. In Europe, I would say it'd be worth more.
When you play it, does the music come out in a different
French?
language? Yeah, does it come out?
No, it don't.
John, do you want to take bids?
Sure.
All right, we'll do that for you. Thank you, sir, for bringing that by. Appreciate that. Okay, Annie is up next. Let's see what Annie's got. Annie, how you doing?
Okay.
Good to see you. Have a seat. Tell us what you brought.
Okay, I bought a pocket watch. It's from my father. I believe it's from 1915 or around that time with the chain. I believe my grandfather might have given it to my father. I'm really not sure about it.
Does it still work?
Yeah, perfect condition. I mean, this is the most it's been handled, I think, in its existence, really.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
Wow, isn't that great?
Yeah.
There's three things I'd like to point out on this. First of all, it is Waltham, which is Waltham, Massachusetts. Second of all, it is 14 karat. They made a lot of gold fill, but this one is 14 karat. Third thing is, do you know why a watch is called 17 jewels?
No. I should, but I don't.
Well, a lot of people don't know why. See those little pieces right in there? Those little round, they're like washers?
Yeah, you mean like those things right there?
Yeah.
That thing and that thing?
That thing and that thing.
Okay.
In this watch, there are 17 of those. Those are ruby crystals. They're actually rubies that are drilled right through, and they become washers. When you put metal up against metal, it wears itself out. But when you put metal through a crystal, it doesn't wear. Neither piece wears.
No kidding.
So they become like a lubricant in a way.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that allows the piece to be mechanically sound for so many years. That's why a better watch will have 17 jewels rather than an all-metal movement.
I see.
I just thought it was kind of
That's
interesting.
very interesting.
Sometimes
Never
they
knew
use,
that.
rubies, sometimes they use sapphires.
Now, how old is this watch?
This is exactly that. It's engine turn, which is this detail right here. Puts it right between 1905 and 1915. Very, very popular to do this. Extremely difficult technique. This is like an engraving that just rotates around and around and around.
One more look at the face, and then I'm going to have you tell us the value here.
The chain is gold, which adds to the value, and it is marked 1915. The value of the chain is about 125 to 150, depending on how much it weighs. It may be more than that. And the watch is 350 to 450, depending on where you are.
Do you want to take bids, Annie?
I'll entertain some bids.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you very much
Thanks,
for bringing. That is very nice, huh?
Yeah.
The case is nice too. Yeah. All right, Mark is up next. Hi, Mark. Come on in. How you doing?
Okay.
Good. Have a seat. Tell us what you brought here.
Well, I brought a Coke bottle from Paul Bear Bryant's retirement party, the alumni.
Huh.
My father was a teacher at the time.
In Alabama, your father was a teacher?
Pardon?
Your father was a teacher in Alabama? Is
Right.
That, okay.
And he retired, so he went to the alumni party, and they just made, I don't know how many, 500, 1,000, very small amount, just for the party. And he didn't drink his, so.
Okay, what do you think?
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
that's a great story. This is really neat. He, everything that Bear Bryant was famous for, his checkered hat, his plaid coat, the whole thing, is pictured here, which is kind of thing. Winningest coach in history, football coach, and his nickname on the back of it. You've got his historical milestones. He took the team to championships 6 times. And he was one of the best coaches, basically one of the best coaches out there, and had, he coached Joe Namath. Well, he was quite a good coach.
He's a legend,
He really
especially
is.
for the folks down in Alabama.
Exactly. Now that's where I'm going to diverge on this, which is if you are a Coca-Cola collector, this is a $30 to $35 bottle. If you are a fan of Alabama, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
You know, 100 and a quarter, 150, somewhere in there. So it depends on where you market. This is totally a regional piece.
Crimson Tide
It's
fans
cool.
are rabid. They're big fans.
It's really cool.
Do you want to take bids on this?
Sure.
All right, let's see what happens.
Great.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. You know, somebody paid $26,000 for a piece of wedding cake. You never
Dried out
know.
okay.
Yeah, you never
This
know.
Coke is probably still good.
That's right. You can still enjoy it. All right, St. Louis, Missouri, the site of today's super collection of monster trucks.
Hey John, are you looking for a vehicle with lots of height and loads of power? Have I got the pickup truck for you? Look at this. This is Bigfoot 5. It's the world's tallest, widest, and heaviest pickup truck. Thanks to these 4 10-foot tires, this thing is 15 feet high, 20 feet wide, and weighs over 38,000 pounds. It's just one of the 15 original Bigfoots in today's super collection. We'll be back with the father of Bigfoot when we return on Personal FX.
The Super Collectors, hosted by John Burke. It's the FX show with the neatest stuff from all over the country.
Fantastic.
You're not kidding. It's collections and the people who do the collecting. And FX wants to show it all to you. Hot, hot, hot. Oh yeah, because this is FX coming at you in daytime. The Super Collectors, every day at 1 p.m. noon Central on FX.
Don't! That's bad luck. We gotta look like Rain Clean Clorox bleach.
Don't be fooled by bargain bleaches. Only Rain Clean Clorox bleach smells fresh as a spring rain.
Told ya.
Try Rain Clean Clorox bleach.
When your face is on, you can do no wrong.
It's a feeling called the Noxzema Tingle. It comes from camphor, menthol, and eucalyptus. That's how you know your face has a down deep clean. Hey, that's why Noxzema's the #1 cleanser.
Yo, Noxzema! We're overheating.
Why, thank you.
When your face is on, you can do no wrong. Gone, girl.
Hey, could you shut your lid?
Well, what for? I'm using Vanish Blue.
Yeah, well, too bad your germs didn't vanish.
Huh?
You need new improved Clorox Automatic. With so much Clorox bleach, it kills 99.9% of germs with every flush.
New Clorox Automatic Toilet Cleaner.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be kissed by you, alone. Boop, boop, be doo.
You never know when love might find you, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gets breath Scope clean and fresh. Scope. Feel the tingle.
Boop, boop, be doo.
When was your last dental checkup? Still thinking? Well, don't put it off any longer. Dr. Doshi, the Diamond Bar dentist, will provide x-rays and a full dental examination for a special introductory price of only $25. That's so much preventative protection for so little, and cosmetic crowns for only $250. That's why Dr. Doshi is the Diamond Bar dentist.
You know how it starts. One little bag of French roast, and the next thing you know, you've got beans from half of Africa. You grind fresh for each cup, and to top it off, you want rich, you want creamy. So I always use Mocha Mix. It tastes positively sinful, but it's low in saturated fat and has no cholesterol. I confess, I love coffee, and Mocha Mix makes it sinfully rich and creamy, without the sin.
Mocha Mix, now with the Flavor Fresh Pour Spout.
Did you know that more than 10 million people attend monster truck events in the U.S. every year? And did you further know that Claire Carter owns a monster truck? I've seen you driving that thing around Manhattan.
Do you know what would be the advantage of driving a monster truck in New York City? Nobody will mess with you.
Not even the cabs. That's right.
They'll just clear the way.
Boy, it's one thing to see these trucks. I just don't know how you would change those tires. That would be tough. Let's see a whole bunch of monster trucks and monster truck memorabilia out in St. Louis.
I say if you're going to have a monster truck super collection, you might as well have all of the original Bigfoots, and that's what Bob Chandler has here. He was the creator of Bigfoot. Does it amaze you how these appeal to not only adults but also kids?
Oh, it does, and I don't know why. The kids seem to like them, and
I guess I think it's their size is the main thing.
And they can crush cars.
Right.
It's a road rage thing.
I'm sure.
Tell me about this one, Bigfoot 3.
It's Bigfoot 3. This was in Cannonball Run 2. It was also in Police Academy. To me, it's probably worth $100,000, and I've probably got, it was built, let's see, in 1993.
Now, do you get a lot of offers for people to buy these, the originals from you?
No, I've had an offer with Bigfoot 1. They wanted to put it in a museum, and the problem is they take it and they put it in a museum, and they say if it's ever done with it, they'll just destroy it. And I'm not going to let that happen.
Right, you're not going to let that happen. Hey, a little bit of information, guys. Look at this. It's not glass. It's painted on.
No, that's right.
Wow. It's rare that we have the opportunity to have a super collector who really created a phase and started an entire, really niche of pop culture. Does that amaze you when you look at all of the different products that have sprung from this idea?
It does, and when I started, my wife Marilyn's in this with me, and we just said, well, we got to go to as many shows as we can because this can't last.
And that was 23 years ago.
23 years ago, right? And, I didn't save anything, but she did, thank God.
And look at this. You know what this is? This is the first Bigfoot helmet. How's that the Bigfoot helmet?
Well, John, that's what I first wore before we did anything rough with the trucks. And what I used to do at the end of the shows is throw them to the audience. And I know I've thrown a dozen of them to the audience, so there's probably a dozen collectibles out there somewhere.
Of those original Bigfoot helmets.
Right.
And then when you started doing rough stuff, you had to go to real helmets,
Real
right?
helmets. This was used in the movie Tango and Cash, Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of damaged. It's been beat up by the roll cage in the truck, and it's probably worth more because it's beat up.
Right. And it's the one that was used in the film.
That's right.
And then, of course, you've gone the way of safety, and these are your current helmets?
More high-tech, yeah. They're full-face helmets. And this one here you can see is also damaged. We don't use them once they're damaged. So.
Boy, thank goodness the driver had that on.
That's right.
It looks like that would hurt.
Right. It would.
And then how many different items, how many different toys in that have sprung from this Bigfoot phenomenon?
I think we've had over 1,000. And this one right here is really the original first monster truck toy. This is number 0001, made by Play School, and it was built back in 1983.
And this was the first toy that the Play School tried without being the plastic, right?
Well,
or preschool.
everything was preschool before this time. This was their first attempt, and this really saved them. It was a great toy.
Right, and you know that you've made it when you go into McDonald's and you see your prize in a Happy Meal. Tell me about this.
Yeah, they put out eight trucks, and you could get these with a Happy Meal, and they did this promotion for a year, and it was very good for us and very good for McDonald's.
And as you can see, he has the original box and all 8 trucks. What was it like to walk into McDonald's and see Bigfoot up there with a Happy Meal?
I'll tell you what, it's unique. It really is. It was, to me, then, maybe we have made it.
That's right. And look over here. This is the album cover of another film that this featured Bigfoot 1, right?
That was our first movie, Take This Job and Shove It, right.
Wow, and then this is the soundtrack. And you were looking before the show for one in the plastic, and you couldn't find one in the plastic,
I know I've got one
right?
somewhere upstairs. We've got a room with just stacks of the stuff in there, and I've got one, but this is one that I've listened to several times. It's a soundtrack from the movie.
And it's amazing to look at playing cards, calendars, like you said, over 1,000 different toys, complete with
got a radio.
A radio, a Bigfoot radio. And you built all of these trucks except for this one, right, Bob?
Right. This is it was an Army personnel carrier. We bought the chassis and we put a different body on it, different engines in it, and made it all Ford. But this was our first attempt at anything other than a tired truck.
Now this is essentially a tank chassis.
Right. Yeah. M84, I think, is what they called it.
Wow.
A personnel carrier.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for sharing your story and showing us the ultimate monster truck super collection.
Thanks, John.
We appreciate it. And all the Bigfoot fans out there appreciate you taking a chance 23 years ago.
Thank you very much.
So, guys, that's it from St. Louis.
Over 10 million fans strong. That's something, isn't it?
He created a phenomenon. I feel safe driving in that tank, but it's hard to imagine what is it like to drive in one of those?
Yeah, can you imagine?
No.
That thing is just incredible. That whole collection is just amazing.
Can you imagine what great appraisals we've got coming next? Stay tuned.
someone or something is stealing bodies.
You think this grave was unearthed by aliens?
Agent Scully is getting closer to the truth.
You're having trouble with this case.
Fine.
Maybe too close.
We found Agent Scully's car. We're gonna find her.
Don't miss The X-Files. Tonight at 8, 7 Central on FX.
Just outside the city, the floodwaters are rising.
These two reporters have a long night ahead of them, and bad coughs. The network man is taking Robitussin DM, while the local guy has discovered Vicks 44. Compare them. Vicks 44 feels more soothing and works longer between doses, up to 8 hours, while Robitussin should be taken every 4. So guess who's getting more cough medicine? And hours later, who's getting the story?
Folks, we're safe. It's gonna be a great day.
8-hour Vicks 44. Get the most from just one dose.
My kids' friends practically live at my house. I love to cook and sing. Lasagna verde. Of course, it's always fresh vegetables. I like canola oil a lot. My hand went to Crisco, and I'm really glad that I use it. It's a light taste.
Purified to taste light.
Food to me is a very meaningful thing. I feel like I'm loving them if I take good care of them and serve them good food. Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
No wonder so many great American cooks agree. Great meals start here. Crisco.
Canola.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be kissed by you, alone. Boop, boop, be doo.
You never know when love might find you, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gets breath Scope clean and fresh. Scope. Feel the tingle.
Boop, boop, be doo.
These days, if you want to sell or buy a house, you need help. So why not try the real estate team that creates magic every time they close a successful transaction? Peter and Lena. Working as a team, Peter and Lena offer twice the experience and twice the market knowledge to help you get the price you deserve. Because families matter to Peter and Lena. Working real estate magic in Walnut and West Covina. 909-595-2323.
Starts one little bag of French roast, and the next thing you know, you've got beans from half of Africa. You grind fresh for each cup, and to top it off, you want rich, you want creamy. So I always use Mocha Mix. It tastes positively sinful, but it's low in saturated fat and has no cholesterol. I confess, I love coffee, and Mocha Mix makes it sinfully rich and creamy, without the sin.
Mocha Mix, now with the Flavor Fresh Pour Spout.
You're looking at St. Louis Union Station, modeled after a French fortress. The 1890s terminal was once the world's largest train station and now features over 100 shops and restaurants. That looks pretty interesting. Welcome back to Personal FX, the Collectibles show. Hit the music, gang. We're going to do a recap. These are the items that are up for sale to this very point in time. We're going to start with item number 1, which is that trinket box. Now, this was appraised at $35 to $65 and could have contained cosmetics and perfumes. Got a glass bottom. Good condition from the 30s, maybe 1940s. Then we've got the Mickey Mouse radio, appraised at $60. Late 60s, 1970s, made in Hong Kong. Good condition, still in the box, still works. Got the World's Fair postcards. Now you got a whole set there, and that was appraised at $100. And those are in very good condition, and there's a lot of information on the back too, which is very valuable. Got the ladies' headset, appraised at $250 to $350. Turn of the century to about 1914. Silver plate on brass. And those for crystal sets, very nice. Then we've got the barometer, and this was appraised at $30 to $35 from the 1930s to 1940s. Plywood, hand-painted from Germany. Also have the bracket clock, and this was appraised at $2,500. Made of oak, most likely English, Victorian era from 1865 to 1875. Got the Sonora radio. This is from the 1940s, still works. And this was made for the European market, and this was appraised at $125 to $250. Got the pocket watch made by Waltham, and this is 14 karat gold from 1905 to 1915, appraised at $475 to $600. Last but not least, we got that Coca-Cola bottle, appraised anywhere from $30, maybe up to $150, depending on where you live. This is, of course, Paul Bear Bryant, and that's a regional piece, so that's why the variance there on the appraisal value. If you'd like to place a bid on any of these items, here's a number to call, 212-802-0082, or if you want to be real fancy, save a little bit of money, you can use your computer, type in www.fxcable.com. All right, Tommy has joined us now to have something appraised. Hi, Tommy. How you doing?
I'm fine, John. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming in. Tell us what you got here.
Well, I've got a set of Beatles coat hangers. They're from the animated feature, The Yellow Submarine.
Now, how'd you get these?
I moved into an apartment here in Manhattan, opened the closet, and there they were.
No kidding. Yeah. Somebody left them in the closet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. What do you think?
They're great. They're, for something that was hanging in a closet, they must have been used. They're in really good condition. These are 30 years old, which, if you remember Yellow Submarine, and now it's 30 years later, you begin to realize how time is passing. And if you turn this one around, you've got his name on each side. They're decorated on both sides. There's a little bit of like crimpling around the edges and stuff, but amazing condition for something that's been used. And of course, Yellow Submarine is a genre within beetle collecting.
Right.
It's its own thing, and a value of items from the Yellow Submarine era is generally a little bit higher than a lot of the other ephemera.
Do we know who was making these? Any idea?
It's right on it. And I forget what it says, but by your right hand there, it says...
King Features, Suba Films Limited, Henderson Hoggart Incorporated, 1968.
All right, now King Features was a cartoon company, if I remember correctly. They did the cartooning part of this. And they probably did Saturday afternoon cartoons as well, I remember the name.
All right, so what do you think then for the Fab Four?
I would say about $90 a piece for condition. If they were brand new mint, it would be about $125 a piece.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Somebody just left you a lot of money sitting in the closet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, half your deposit for the apartment.
Yeah. Do you want to take bids?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's see what happens. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bringing those by. Very cool. All right, out in St. Louis, Missouri, Ray brought something to be appraised, so let's take a look.
I have a Mickey Mouse that I acquired about 10 years ago from an elderly lady who claimed that she has had him since the 30s, which would make him one of the very first Mickey Mouse dolls. He is made out of straw and has a felt covering, and he is for sale.
Look at that. Look at that. That's got to be something really nice.
This is early 1930s. It's Steiff, made by the Steiff company, which a lot of times you see the Steiff bears, Steiff camels, all the animals, and we're looking at the fingers. See the pointed thumb?
Yeah.
This is there's 3 or 4 versions of Steiff Mickeys. He's missing his eyes. He's missing whiskers. He has no tag on his belly and no tag left in his ear. But because of the fingers, the coloring, and the feet, the lines for the mouth, the shape around the eyes, we know that this is Steiff and the little line under the eyes.
Steiff from the 30s?
From the 30s, which is a good period for Steiff, plus it's Mickey Mouse.
Steiff from the 30s, and it's Disneyana, early Disneyana.
Right.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, $1,700 or so in this condition. If it was mint, we'd put another $700 or $800 on that.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Anything you can do about the eyes?
No, gone is gone.
Okay,
yeah,
gone is gone. All right, there you go. That is just amazing. All right, Claire, we're sending this your way.
What a great item.
Isn't it neat? Yeah.
Yes, it is. And Paul has brought in something he'd like to have appraised. Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Please tell us about your dishes. How long have you had them?
We've had them since 1955. I was stationed in Germany. My uncle befriended this Mr. Wilhelm, who hand-painted them for us, and we brought them back from Germany, and I think they're pre-war. I have about 120 pieces to the set.
All in pretty good condition?
All in that, well, there's one chipped bowl and there's one chipped cup. But
not
it's a
bad for
service of
120
12.
pieces.
Yeah, that's great. That's really neat. Now, this is Rosenthal porcelain, and in 1855, Philip Rosenthal started this company. He died in 1937. In the 1920s, Rosenthal started manufacturing wares for department stores. And so they really became, originally, you know, they were known for more like art things, like single individual vases, that kind of thing. This has gone a little, it's a little more commercial. On the bottom of this, you'll see a name, which generally it's a retailer's name. This one, you were saying that this is the artist's name?
Mr. Wilhelm.
Who painted this. But a lot of times they, you know, they do that. They'll put the retailer's name on the bottom like this, and they'll also put the, well, he knows that it's the artist's name. So
having the artist's name, does that add to the value?
Yeah. You know, the more information you have, of course, the more interesting something becomes.
How
And
much
these were
does
very
he have,
common.
though, in terms of, he says he has 120.
120 pieces. These still sell at auction for like $3 to $4 a piece. They're not that expensive. I personally think that they're a great, great thing to buy because when you start to go out there and look for china, and you start to look at like retail china of something comparable, you're looking at $100 a piece.
So what are we looking at now, you're saying?
You're looking at what we have right here is, you know, okay, so 25, like $75 right here because you've got a platter and the tea. And if you average out the whole set at auction, it's $3 to $4 a piece. 120 pieces, all you got to do is the math.
Planning to put it up for sale?
Yes, I'd like to.
We will do that. Thank you so very much. And now let's go back out to St. Louis, Missouri. Frank would like to have something appraised. Let's check out what he's brought.
All right, this is a water pitcher made in Czechoslovakia back in the 20s to 30s. Very nice piece, evident of the times. Came from my grandmother's farm. I got it when she passed away several years ago. I would be interested in selling it if somebody were wanting to purchase it.
Sure. Screams Czech?
Screams deco. It's absolutely perfect deco. It's that toucan motif. You got that naturalistic, but it's done in a geometric form. It's got deco colors, the orange, black, and the yellow. It's got deco form with those long, striated sort of shapes.
Wonderful piece.
It's a fabulous, fabulous piece. It's Czechoslovakian, and Czechoslovakia has always been a fabulous center of porcelain, china, glass. Some beautiful, beautiful wares come out of, and this is Urfila. Now, my opinion of this piece is that this is very comparable to Clarice Cliff or another English
very
or
much
Shelley
so.
or some of those really strong deco things.
So how valuable?
Initially, my thought was $250 to $350. In New York, to a collector, I'm going to say it's as much as $2,000.
Really?
It's phenomenally
Isn't
deco.
that something?
Yes.
Whoa. Well, when we come back, we're going to be finding out more about what goes into the work of creating a very favorite collectible, the comic books. Stay with us.
The Super Collectors, hosted by John Burke. It's the FX show with the neatest stuff from all over the country.
Fantastic.
You're not kidding. It's collections and the people who do the collecting. And FX wants to show it all to you. Hot, hot, hot. Oh yeah, because this is FX coming at you in daytime. The Super Collectors, every day at 1 p.m. noon central on FX.
Ooh, nice cake. Now what do you want?
Frosting.
Chocolate frosting!
That really tastes like homemade.
You want Duncan Hines home-style frosting, the ready-to-serve chocolate frosting that tastes like homemade because it's made like homemade. With fine confectioner sugar and natural chocolate flavor, like rich Dutch cocoa. No wonder it's the one people say tastes best. Duncan Hines home-style frosting, just what you want.
Introducing Glade Votive Candles. Surround yourself with new Glade Votive candle scents. Created by nature, captured by Glade. When your face is on, you can do no wrong.
It's a feeling called the Noxzema Tingle. It comes from camphor, menthol, and eucalyptus. That's how you know your face has a down deep clean. Hey, that's why Noxzema is the #1 cleanser.
Yo, Noxzema! We're overheating.
Why, thank you.
When your face is on, you can do no wrong. No, girl.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be kissed by you, alone. Boop, boop, be doo.
You never know when love might find you, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gets breath Scope clean and fresh. Scope. Feel the tingle.
Boop, boop, be doo.
For dry, red eyes, Clear Eyes is awesome. Unlike the other leading eye drop, it removes redness and has an ingredient to moisturize. Wow. The difference is clear. Clear Eyes.
Ooh, Nice cake. Now what do you want?
Frosting.
Chocolate frosting.
That really tastes like homemade.
You want Duncan Hines Homestyle Frosting, the ready-to-serve chocolate frosting that tastes like homemade because it's made like homemade. With fine confectioner's sugar and natural chocolate flavor, like rich Dutch cocoa. No wonder it's the one people say tastes best. Duncan Hines Homestyle Frosting, just what you want.
We want you to be our guest. Join us in the FX apartment and have an item appraised. All you have to do is give us a call at 1-800-FX-FX-FX1.
Marvel Comics. Boy, these things are collectible, but they are also works of art. Have you ever sat back and wondered, how do they make these things? Well, recently, we got to go down to Marvel Comics and take a look. This is what we saw.
Comic books have been coveted by collectors for decades. Why are they so popular today? We asked an expert.
The wonderful thing about comic books is it's one of the truly American art forms, and it started back in the 30s and has been growing ever since. And as a result of this growth, Marvel has probably about 4,000 characters that are part of the Marvel Universe.
These characters are collected in comic book form every month by fans of all ages. How many people are responsible for putting them there?
We have about 80 people who work with Marvel Comics that are directly involved in-house in making a comic. We deal with hundreds and hundreds of freelancers and contract creators who both write, ink, pencil, and help create comic books.
The process begins when the editors and writers meet in this conference room about a particular storyline or character. They discuss story ideas, create guidelines for the artist, and decide which creative people can be used to make the comic.